Welcome to the Daily Drop on Pro Ball Daily. I'm Mike, fired up and ready to dive into the absolute chaos that was yesterday in sports.
And I'm Tara, still trying to pick my jaw off the floor after some of these results. We've got wild swings, shocking upsets, and some teams on spirals that are truly historic. But first, can we talk about the massive power shift we're seeing in the NBA? The Oklahoma City Thunder are officially top of the power index?
OKC at 76.1 points in the power index, cementing their status as the team to beat right now. But what really blows my mind, Tara, is who's right behind them. The Charlotte Hornets, sitting at a shocking number 2 with 68.9 points. And then the Spurs cracking the top 5? When did the NBA become the land of the unexpected?
It's a complete shakeup. Charlotte at number 2 is wild. Are we seeing a new contender emerge in the East, or is this just a hot streak that our algorithm is heavily weighing? I mean, we didn't even see a Hornets game in the recent scores data, which makes that number 2 ranking even more intriguing. It speaks to sustained performance behind the scenes, away from the headlines. The Spurs, too, at number 5, Popovich still working his magic, clearly.
Definitely. But then you look at some of the actual game results, and it's pure pandemonium. The New York Knicks, number 3 in the power index, losing to the Atlanta Hawks 108-109. That's a huge upset, especially with where the Hawks have been. And the Denver Nuggets getting absolutely throttled by the Minnesota Timberwolves 113-96. What happened to the reigning champs?
That Nuggets game was a statement win for the Wolves, Mike. They came out, defended, and frankly looked like the hungrier team. But let's zoom in on those Hawks, because their performance has been one of the most erratic things I've seen all season. We're talking about a team that shot 55% in February, which was 14% below their season baseline. Then March hits, and they suddenly shoot a staggering 87%. That's 18.1% above their baseline.
And just when you think they figured it out, they drop back down to 56% in April, 13% below baseline. That's a roller coaster, not a trend. Is that a coaching issue? An injury that healed and then recurred? Or just the epitome of streaky shooting? You can't rely on a team that swings that wildly.
It tells me they're fundamentally inconsistent. You don't jump 32 percentage points in a month and then drop almost as much back down without some serious underlying issues. Maybe they had a brief moment where everything clicked. Trae Young was hitting from the parking lot, Bogdan Bogdanović couldn't miss, and then defenses adjusted or the energy just wasn't there to sustain it. You need a baseline of consistency to be a real contender, and the Hawks just don't have it.
You're right. No wonder they're not in the Power Index top 5. Moving over to the ice, the NHL Power Index is equally fascinating. Vegas Golden Knights at number 1, expected, but then the Utah Mammoth at number 2?
The Utah Mammoth, a new franchise making a statement in their inaugural season. That's a story in itself. But what I can't get over is the Buffalo Sabres cracking the top 4 and the San Jose Sharks at number 5. The Sabres beat the Boston Bruins 3-1, which is a massive upset considering the Bruins' usual dominance.
And the Bruins' numbers this season are, well, they're a case study in how quickly a team can unravel, Tara. In January, they were hitting a staggering 91%, blowing past their season baseline by over 30%. They looked unstoppable, like they were going to cruise to the President's Trophy.
But then March rolled around and they dropped to 54%, a 10.4% dip from their baseline. And now in April, they're at a shocking 30%, almost 30% below their baseline. What happened to this team? That's a full-blown collapse.
That's not just a slump, that's a free fall. It has to be injuries, right? You don't go from the statistical peak of the league to the basement in 3 months without something catastrophic happening behind the scenes. Or maybe they were just playing so far above their heads in January that the regression was bound to be brutal. But still, 30%? That's beer league numbers for a professional team.
It's completely unsustainable, and it raises huge questions about their coaching staff, their conditioning, and their mental fortitude. If they can't turn this around, they're not just missing the playoffs. They're going to be a cautionary tale for years to come. That loss to Buffalo, while an upset for Buffalo, just underlines the Bruins' current state.
Absolutely. Let's pivot to the pitch for a moment. In the EPL, Manchester City remains dominant at number 1, but Brighton and Hove Albion are at a shocking number 2 with 88.8 points, right on City's heels.
Brighton at number 2 is the biggest surprise in European football right now. It's incredible. They're playing some fantastic, fluid football, and they've clearly figured out a way to consistently win. This isn't a fluke. And then Nottingham Forest at number 5? What a season for the underdog stories in the Premier League.
It's great to see some new blood at the top, but it also highlights the absolute disaster that is Tottenham Hotspur right now. 6-game losing streak, Tara. That's brutal for a club with their aspirations. Are they just cursed, or is there a deeper issue with the squad and management?
6 games is an absolute crisis. It speaks to a lack of leadership on the field, a lack of confidence, and probably a manager who's lost the dressing room. You don't slide like that without something fundamentally breaking down. Tottenham needs a serious reset. Meanwhile, Brighton is showing them how it's done on a much smaller budget.
From professional football to college hoops, NCAAB is bringing the heat. Michigan Wolverines at number 1, no surprise there. But George Mason Patriots at number 2? And the UMass Minutemen at number 5? Talk about unexpected contenders.
George Mason at number 2 is a fantastic story. It just goes to show you that with the right coaching and the right chemistry, any team can rise. But let's talk about the UConn Huskies. They are 100% at home, outscoring opponents by an insane 25 points in recent games. That's pure dominance. If you're going to win March Madness, you need that kind of fortress at home.
Absolutely. That kind of home court advantage and consistent performance is what you build a championship run on. On the flip side, we're seeing some interesting trends with the underbets. Duke and Michigan games are going under their average total 40% of the time. That means defenses are playing tough, or offenses are struggling more than expected in those matchups. Could be a sign of grinded-out tournament-style play emerging.
It could be. Those are 2 very disciplined teams, so it's not surprising to see them in lower-scoring affairs. Over to MLS, where the New England Revolution are leading the Power Index at 81.4 points. But the big story here is the losing streaks. Austin FC is on a 7-game losing streak, the worst in their history. 7 games.
That's just so crushing for a franchise. You have to wonder what's going on in that locker room. Is it a talent issue, coaching, or just an inability to close out games? And they're not alone. Atlanta United FC is on a 5-game losing streak, and FC Cincinnati and LA Galaxy are both on 4-game losing streaks. What is with this domino effect of bad form in MLS?
It highlights the razor-thin margins in MLS, Mike. 1 or 2 bad results, a loss of confidence, and suddenly you're in a spiral. Austin FC's record-worst streak is a nightmare, but seeing 3 other major clubs on significant losing streaks tells you how competitive the league is and how quickly things can fall apart. It's hard to predict anything in this league right now.
Speaking of dominance, let's head to La Liga. Barcelona continues their reign at number 1, extending their winning streak to 7 games. They are just unstoppable right now, asserting pure dominance.
Unstoppable is the right word. 7 consecutive wins in one of the toughest leagues in the world. They're clicking on all cylinders. But right behind them, sitting at number 2, is Getafe. That's a huge surprise for a team that isn't typically challenging for the title. And then Real Madrid at number 3, they must be frustrated seeing Getafe ahead of them.
Getafe at number 2 is a testament to consistency, maybe defensive solidity, even if it's not flashy. But it also shows you how competitive La Liga is outside the usual top 2. What's not competitive, though, are Sevilla and Real Betis. Sevilla is on a 5-game losing streak, losing to Levante 2-0 yesterday, and Real Betis is on a 6-game losing streak. The Giants are falling in Spain, Tara.
It's tough out there for those Andalusian clubs. The losing streaks for Sevilla and Betis, combined with Barcelona's dominance, really paint a picture of a league where the gap between the top and the bottom is widening, but the mid-table is still full of surprises like Getafe.
Finally, let's swing for the fences with MLB. The Atlanta Braves are leading the Power Index at number 1, but the Chicago Cubs are at number 2. That's a strong start for them. And the Athletics cracking the top 5?
The Cubs at number 2 is fantastic for them, a real statement early in the season. And the Athletics at number 5 is definitely a head-scratcher given their historical struggles, but it shows they're clearly doing something right in the early goings. We had some wild games yesterday, too. The Padres putting up 10 runs against the Rockies, the Yankees beating the Red Sox 4-2, and the Phillies losing a high-scoring 8-7 battle to those very same Cubs.
And in that Phillies-Cubs thriller, Brandon Marsh absolutely raked with a 75.75 MLB rating in that 15-run showdown. What a performance! It's these kinds of individual standout games that can really electrify a season.
Absolutely. And similar to the NBA and NHL, we're seeing some interesting trends in MLB, with the Athletics going 63% in March, almost 8% above their baseline. But then the Orioles had a wild swing, 44% in March, nearly 7% below their baseline, only to jump to 64% in April, over 12% above baseline. That kind of volatility is a coach's nightmare.
It tells you baseball is a game of streaks, but that kind of dramatic shift Nearly 20 percentage point swing from one month to the next implies more than just typical variance. It could be early season adjustments, or maybe certain players finding their rhythm after a slow start. Either way, it keeps things interesting.
It certainly does. What a day in sports, Mike. If I had to pick one single biggest takeaway, it's the sheer volatility we're seeing across almost every league. From the Hawks and Bruins to the Orioles, teams are swinging wildly from hot to cold, making predictions nearly impossible. It means every game is truly a new story.
And that's what keeps us glued to the screen, Tara. Looking ahead, keep your eye on that Austin FC losing streak in the MLS. Can they possibly turn it around and avoid making even more history? Tomorrow could be huge for them.
That's your Daily Drop for today. For scores, rankings, and everything in between, head to ProBallDaily.com. We'll see you tomorrow.